So, yeah, Nessi, welcome to this episode of Singing Mothers. I'm really happy to have you and to talk with you about this, precious topic of following the way of the artist and following of being a mother this way and how to find balance in that.
I mean, I think I'm, still learning the whole piece of balance. Prior to having my daughter, naturally, I just had to kind of take care of myself and, apply myself whenever I wanted. I had all the time in a way to kind of structure my day and structure how I use my time. And I guess obviously since having my daughter, that has changed. So it's still for me kind of a delicate dance of, sometimes I might be putting, maybe too much emphasis on my work and kind of not really being fully present, in the home with the family. So I'm always kind of, fine tuning that. I guess for me at the moment, because with my daughter being so young still, like she's my priority. And, I've kind of taken a little bit of a backseat in terms of my own creative process. I'm working with clients and doing kind of private sessions, and I'm doing kind of workshops as well. But in terms of my own musical creative journey, that's kind of taken a bit of a backseat. And I guess in the beginning, that was a concern of mine, like a fear of mine. If, once I found out I was pregnant and those questions came up, it's like, how am I going to make this work? Or will I need to sacrifice my work? And it all felt really daunting in the beginning. But I think it's just, for me at least, just taking one day at a time, not putting myself under too much pressure, because all I can do is my best in the moment. And maybe, even if that's not my best, it's still my best, if that makes sense. And to be really compassionate and patient, especially with my creativity, not to kind of, because I think, you can easily, I can easily kind of go into those spaces of feeling like I'm not doing enough, or, comparing myself to others and feeling like I might be falling behind. All those voices come in. And I'm only human, and I guess it's just riding those waves. And, some days I feel like I've got that balance really good, and other days I feel like I'm either doing too much in the work, or, I'm not doing enough. But like I said, I think you can only do your best, whatever the situation is. But it's, I guess one of the positive things for me is, being 2 years down the road as a mother, and kind of being able to compare reality with what my fears were initially. And, of course you do make sacrifices. At least I've made sacrifices in, my work, and, so that I can really honor this path of becoming a mother. And, but I think one of the things that I'm so grateful for is that I'm still plugged in, right? It's not that I gave up all that I've kind of built over the last years, and I remember, when I found out I was pregnant, and I would kind of share with friends, and, and without any kind of bad intention, sometimes, to have these conversations, and people are like, oh yeah, well, things are going to change now, and you're not going to be able to do what you were doing before. And And those conversations really disturbed me, you know. It's like, well, why can't I do what I wanted to do before? And of course, you know, I think you just adapt. And, you know, Bodhi, my daughter, she's such a part of our life. You know, when 3 months after she was born, we were on the road, you know, working. And I remember that, you know, I remember going back to that space of work after taking a bit of a break. For me, it was a long break because normally I'm always on the road. And I think from March until August in 2019, I kind of was just focusing on my pregnancy. And going back to work and bringing her with us was so beautiful. And I had a lot of fears around it. I was, you know, that fear of failing and fear of it not working and having to give up everything, you know, and all those concerns or insecurities would kind of come up. But yeah, it was that I felt so liberated when, you know, going back to work and sharing what I love the most and being able to have her with us was really wonderful. It was such a wonderful and empowering experience for me. I felt really empowered by that, you know. And I have some friends in this kind of on this path who are musicians or, you know, holding work with the voice with groups of people, and they're also mothers. And I really looked at them for inspiration, you know. And you know, sometimes it would be like, oh my God, you know, like you'd compare yourself and be like, oh, how do they do it? How are they managing to kind of keep that train going? But then kind of turning that not as a fear, but as inspiration, and just really finding my way with that. But like I said, it's for me, it's daily, right? It's changing daily. And as Bodhisattva grows, her needs are different. Her, you know, what she needs from me is evolving. And, you know, on some level, I can get a bit more independence as she gets a bit older, but then in other ways, she needs me more. So it's a really, you know, it's a really delicate dance with kind of balancing my, you know, being a mum and kind of still continuing my path in this work.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. It's also the reason why I'm doing these interviews, to find inspiration.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I loved about, you know, when you reached out. I was like, oh, that sounds so beautiful. I'd love to kind of share my journey with that.
Do you have the feeling that your motherhood inspires or influences your voice or your music or your poetry or something? Like, did it change or deepen or something?
You know what? It's a few people shared with me. I think I don't know if I was playing in ceremony or, you know, after Bodhisattva was born, and many friends who know me well and know my voice all kind of commented and shared that my voice had they felt my voice had changed. It felt more like earthy, and and I remember my doctor as well, when I found out I was pregnant and I was going all for my checkups. I think I was only like 1 month pregnant at the time, and I was having a whole meltdown about it all. And my doctor, I remember the last thing she said to me is, apparently motherhood does amazing things for your voice. And I found that really interesting coming from my doctor. And I feel like in some ways it has. I think, well, in terms of my creativity, you know, I'm feeling more relaxed about it in that sense, and trusting, you know, this kind of, that there's cycles to our creativity, right? That, you know, it cannot always be on full gear. Like there has to be these ebbs and flows. And I feel like I'm in a kind of, you know, that little fire is still burning, but it's not like, in fruition at that, at this stage. I'm kind of, my priorities are somewhere else. But I definitely feel like my energy feels more grounded. I feel, I don't know, more calm, more confident in a way. I guess also because I think that's one of the beautiful things about being a mother for myself is, it's not all about me anymore, which is actually quite a relief. It's like you have this gorgeous creature to kind of look after and kind of guide through life. And I don't know, for that kind of, it takes this feeling of being self-absorbed, always being like, chasing something, or like, I think having my daughter, she grounds me, she helps me to feel just, you have to be present in the moment, right? Like, I know that if I'm not fully engaged, like I'm not, so being with her really kind of encourages me to be really present in the moment. And after kind of she's coming up to 2 years in May, and I'm finding my energy kind of evolving in the last few months. So maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I'd be going to bed with her at like 7, 8 in the night. And this is normally where I'm really creative, right? This is night time when everyone's gone to sleep and there's this beautiful kind of witching hour, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't been really kind of in that space. But in the last few months, I've noticed that this is coming up again for me, where I have more energy in the night to stay awake and can put her to sleep and not stay with her the whole night. And, just getting into projects, little things, giving myself little tasks, not kind of burdening myself with this need to achieve, really just relaxing into my creative process, whatever that might be, whether it's, creating music or working on my workshops and developing them. And, and I think really important, I guess, for me is to take care of myself and keep finding inspiration from other sources, not to feel like I need to invent the wheel every time, which can be quite an exhausting place to be in. So reaching out to other teachers, learning from other people, keeping my fire burning for inspiration in different ways.
It sounds like it brings you also more into femininity, like male shaped of going into projects. It's more from this feminine space.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's more kind of, what's the word, secular, I don't know if that's the right word, rather than linear. And it's like, starting in the morning and doing this boom boom boom. Like, now it's just kind of, I guess it's teaching me to be flexible and patient, right? Whereas, and there's times where I definitely grieve, that there's times where I'm like, oh, why didn't I make more of the time that I had? Why did I just, why did I not kind of carve out all that time, to write more music, or, so I have those thoughts. But at the same time, this journey is really teaching me to be flexible, to be patient with myself, to be patient with, reality around me, to be patient with my creativity, trusting. I mean, it's a fine line as well. Like, I definitely think, you have to apply yourself to some level if you want things to happen. So it's not just sitting back and go, yeah, I trust existence, right? It's like you have to add something there as well to show up. But I just see for me right now that, just waiting, I just feel like, like I said, I feel like my daughter's at that tender age, and there'll be the time where it starts to kind of unfold. And, you know, I feel it burning, right? I feel that little creative fire burning in regards to kind of wanting to, I don't know, write more music, for example. And I'm curious to see what will come from me. You know, I definitely feel a different kind of quality in my being, and even in my voice. I feel like since I was pregnant, I noticed even my speaking voice felt a bit different. I don't know if that's because I gained quite a bit of weight, and so that, you know, it resonated differently in my body. But still, now I feel like it's amazing what, I guess, motherhood, you know, can, you know, the way it evolves us physically, emotionally, mentally.
Beautiful. And which role does Lena play, your partner, in all this?
Well, he's been such a great support. I mean, right from the beginning, really, you know, from once, you know, when we met 10 years ago, and you know, we lived in Pachamama community in Costa Rica. Well, I was there for 3 years. He was there for 12 years. And, you know, he really took care of our journey. Like, without him, you know, it would have been very hard to do what I'm doing now. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing without him, because he gave me so much in the sense of support and really believing in my offering and really seeing it. He, if anything, he saw it more than I did, right? For me, it was very much, I had to kind of pierce through a lot of unhelpful beliefs that I had about myself, whereas he could just see, you know, he was like really believing in what we could do together. And in terms of, you know, since Bodhisattva's been in our life, he's been amazing. You know, he's really, you know, he's given so much to her, and it enables me to kind of do what I need to do in terms of my work and focusing on my needs. But he plays a massive role, and he's such a great support. He's wonderful with her as well, you know. So I'm so grateful for that. And she gets to have us, right? She gets to have both of us in her life. You know, I know so many friends that, you know, after 6 months, they're, you know, in 9 to 5 job and working in an office, and they don't come back home until late, you know. So I feel really grateful that Bodhisattva can have both her parents fully at home with her, and, you know, we alternate. You know, it's a bit like when we started working together, you're learning what roles, you know, that belong to you, and the responsibilities, and not stepping on each other's toes. And I think that's the same with us in parenthood as well, and in terms of honoring each other's space and how we kind of bring up and inspire our daughter, you know. So yeah, he's been really phenomenal, really.
Amazing. It sounds like your life, and maybe the life of an artist, is pretty child friendly, you know, because some people say, no, you cannot have a child if you're a musician and touring around, but it seems it works out pretty well.
Well, we make it work because, you know, I can't see myself doing anything else in life. And I really believe, you know, a friend said to me as well when I was pregnant, because naturally the fears came up of these exact things that you're talking about. And, you know, a friend said to me, well, your daughter chose you. She knows deep down what she's coming into. And, you know, to trust that, you know. And of course we had to, you know, it's like I said, you evolve. Like, for me, there's no option. It's not an option of going, okay, I've got a kid now, so I'm just going to give up everything I've done. You know, if that was meant to be, it would have happened, right? But, you know, we're just finding our way all the time. It's like we went on tour in October in 2020 for not very long because Germany went into a second lockdown. But we had a nanny with us. We brought a nanny with us so that when we were doing our work, because Lino and myself, we hold the workshops together, and I had some concerts, not very many, there were going to be more, but it was the first time we brought a nanny, and I would have never imagined that initially. I was like, oh, how can we, what are we going to do when we need to go on the road? Like, I never thought it would be possible, right? It was like, or believing it's going to be really hard and it has to be, you just have to accept, okay, right, we need to bring a nanny, and we, in order for us to kind of do our work, and, it's going to cost something, but that's part of it, right? That's part of the evolving and being flexible and not holding on to what was, but being really kind of elastic in your response to reality, and making sure, because I didn't, for me it was like, do I just bring one person or do we find a person there, and I just thought, I don't really want her to have a new nanny every country we go to. It doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather just have one person. So, and that was, but you get there, right? It's like, before you're even at that kind of milestone, it's hard to envision how that's going to unfold, right? So when I was pregnant, I was like, oh, how am I going to go back to work? I can't even imagine going back to work and working with a baby, and but then you get to that point and you're like, things are clear and you are clear, and you obviously reach that point when you're ready to, and so it's just really trusting that, and like I said, being really flexible, and acknowledging that, after a gig, I can't just stay out and maybe have a few drinks with friends. I need to get home to my kids, right? So you kind of make those sacrifices also in terms of seeing what's important in that moment. And again, referring to your question about balance, and so I feel really grateful, and it's not that I've nailed it, right? Like, I'm still finding my way, and every milestone will bring a different challenge. And she's turning 2 soon, and she's already kind of going through these waves of emotion, very strong-willed, and and it's the same, I guess, in relation to that. It's also, maybe that's what helped me in a way with this big shift, that we're all going through, in this pandemic lockdown. We're so used to doing things in the physical realm, and all of a sudden, we weren't able to do that. And we had to move online. Well, we didn't have to, but we chose to move online. You learn to adapt. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? We learn to adapt. We're very adaptable creatures. And not to be afraid of making mistakes, because we all do. And I get plagued at times with feeling like I'm not a good mother, or judging myself, and like feeling tormented between not doing enough work or feeling like I'm not a good enough mother, and it's just just putting things into perspective, taking each day as it comes, not worrying, not thinking too much into the future, because we don't know how things evolve. It's just like life, just trusting how things need to kind of unfold.
Yeah. So it seems that having a child doesn't mean, because I always had the fear of, when I get a child, then I'm gone. I'm not existing anymore. So to listen to you, that it's just not true. It's just a fear, big fear.
Fear, and there are phases. Like, I mean, I would say probably the first few months. I remember when Bodhisattva was born, and I was it was the first time I was a mum, so I was finding my way with that. And I remember 10 days after she was born, I'd been invited to a friend's wedding. And this was months ago, and I thought, yeah, by then I'll be fine, and she was already late. So, Boadicea was not meant to, but they kind of said, oh, she's going to be arriving on this day. And it was obviously a few weeks later, which is natural. So the timing was a bit kind of close with the wedding. And but I remember going to the wedding, and I would say the first couple of months I was still trying to live my life, trying to go, oh yeah, I can, and I just was so emotional. And those few steps, it was, now looking back, I'd be like, no, I think if I was to repeat that again, if I was to repeat that experience, I would definitely carve out 2 months. I mean, they talk about 40 days, right, of once you give birth, not to leave the home, or, keeping in that energy. And that, that makes sense to me now. And I think I would do that just for my own boundaries, really. But, I remember there was this struggle, right, in the very beginning. It was like there was that part of me that wanted things just to continue as they were, and Boadicea would just come with me whenever she wanted. But it wasn't always like that in reality, because she'd be freaking out if she wasn't close to me. So just getting in a car and putting her in a car seat, she would just be freaking out. And I would be like, oh, I really want to get out of the house, but, so I was struggling with that in the beginning, because I was trying to fight reality. And then once I kind of relaxed into it, I was like, you know what? I think I just need to put all my plans of seeing friends or going here or going there, just, so there was a bit of a grieving process as well on that level of like, not doing what I want when I want, like I used to. But for me, that was really like the first couple of months, and seeing how it evolves over the years, and seeing the different stages and what that brings. I think I feel more relaxed about it, right? It doesn't, and now I just couldn't imagine my life without her, which I know sounds so cliched. Everybody says that once they have a kid, right? But I just feel, I feel very, I feel very blessed to be a mum. I feel grateful that I've been given this opportunity to be a mum, and in this lifetime. I never thought it would happen, because in my mind, she wasn't a planned birth. And in a way, I'm so grateful for that, because I think I would have still been waiting for the right moment. And like everybody says, there is no right moment. You just have to throw yourself into it and just deal with life, right? Just deal with it. Deal with becoming a mum, deal with the challenges. If your work is really important to you, you'll make it work no matter what. You might have to give some things up, you might have to put some things on the shelf for a little bit, but you will make it work, in whatever way that looks for you. And I feel like I've done that. I feel like, I'm so grateful that I'm able to keep, to do what I'm doing, and live this journey as a mother. And I honestly don't think it would have happened otherwise, and I think that would be a real shame, if I never kind of was given that opportunity and waited for the right moment. Because I know, like I said, that right moment is never there, so. And life takes care of things, we are taken care of, we're guided, you know, by these wonderful invisible forces. I don't know, you know, at least for me, that's what I feel. It's just like, you know, if I really want something in my life, I will make it work. And you kind of juggle and balance, you know, all the different aspects and seeing, you know, the sacrifices that are needed in order for you to do what you need to do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nessi.
Thank you, Selena.
Inspiring and empowering as well for me, and I'm sure for many other women who have this feeling for this call of motherhood and this fear of how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would really love if you want to share a song, maybe a song, a song which embodies all these feelings and experiences, and so
Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, I've got my guitar here, so. So I think it's funny actually, not well, it's not funny, but a song that I'd like to sing is when I found out I was pregnant. I came across this song when I was touring in Australia, which is where Bodicea was conceived. And it's a Hebrew song that I did a version of. And the lyrics were so beautiful and really helped me in those moments of, you know, doubting or kind of feeling, you know, you're going through that whole process of a death and rebirth, right? So this song, I'm trying to find the English lyrics so that I can read it first. So for anybody that's kind of listening, I have so many windows open. Bear with me. So the English lyrics, it's a Hebrew song by a wonderful Israeli artist called Shai Benzo, and the English lyrics say this: "Here I am, completely yours. Do as you will with me. I have come empty. I surrender. My heart is at your mercy. Even if everything is taken away from me, within me I will hear your voice. From the pain it will resurrect me and fill me with inspiration." So this song, I always think of my daughter when I sing this song. And it just, it really accompanied me on this journey whilst I was pregnant and helping me to find inspiration, you know, and connection, you know, in these, because it was a shock for me. It was like when I first found out I was pregnant, even though I wanted to be a mother, I was like, oh my God, my life is going to change so much, you know. So there was, you know, I think the first 2 weeks I was literally grieving and crying and just in this whole emotional meltdown and freaking out, but also in love and so grateful that I was pregnant. And so it was kind of like feeling the both sides of the scale, you know, the despair and the shock and the grief, but also that sense of wonder and excitement to bring life into the world. So this song really was a journey, you know, it really helped me on this journey. So I'd love to play that for you. Just getting everything plugged in. Right. just check. One second. שלך עשה בקיצונך הנה אני כולי שלך עשה בקיצונך בתירק אני נכנע ליבי נתון לחסדך בתירק אני נכנע ליבי נתון לחסדך גם אם הכל ישלל ממני בתוכי קולך ישמע גם אם הכל ישלל ממני בתוכי קולך ישמע מן הכאב הוא יעיבני ימלאני בהשראה מן הכאב הוא יעיבני ימלאני בהשראה הנה אני כולי שלך עשה בקיצונך הנה אני כולי שלך עשה בקיצונך בתירק אני נכנע ליבי נתון לחסדך בתירק אני נכנע ליבי נתון לחסדך גם אם הכל ישלל ממני בתוכי קולך ישמע גם אם הכל ישלל ממני בתוכי קולך ישמע מן הכאב הוא יעיבני ימלאני בהשראה מן הכאב הוא
Thank you so much, Nessi.
Oh, thank you, Selena.
Song and beautiful sharing. Yeah, it's really an honor for me to talk with you. And I got to know your music in Pachamama a few years ago and was really, really touched, inspired. And it was like a guide for the freeing of my voice. And then I heard you're pregnant and I was like, wow, okay, how will it be? And now we're talking. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been it's been a joy to speak with you around this, because it's the first time I've actually spoken about it in this way, and it's kind of refreshing for me in a way. It's another aspect to my journey, and it's really beautiful to acknowledge and share how that journey has been, and kind of give thanks to it in this way. So thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for opening that space for me.
I'd love to do it. That
Yeah,
comes out of it, of the singing mothers. And also
beautiful.
just to follow this path and this call. Yeah, it's empowering.
Yeah, thank you.
So she's coming.
I can hear her. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love.
Much love as well.
Bye, darling. Mwah.